Future Proof is sponsored by Learn Smart Academy, online revision courses for GCSE and A-Level. All your revision in one place, organised for you, interactive and game-changing. Hello and welcome to Future Proof. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I continue these programmes looking at how to. And already I've looked at teamwork. I've even looked at how I've cut my own hair through lockdown, and it's quite good to have as an emergency measure. But obviously hairdressers and professionals are the people to really go to. So in this programme, and again, it might be a bit like the previous programme that you might have watched. I actually covered building an effective team over two main programs, and I have a feeling that this subject will actually follow the same format. So it might well be that I cover two programs on this one main subject, which is how to plan and develop your business plan, and it's basically how to, if you like, plan your own business. And I think some of that teamwork is there too, because you could well be looking at a team around you even if you're going out on your own, or it could be that there's a group of you, maybe two, 3, 4 people who are coming together to maybe plan a business. So that teamwork is really, really important. And when you're on your own, then although you might be making all those final decisions, then in many ways you actually need perhaps a team behind you too, of advisors and wise counsel. You can fail early that way because people can help you really see the landscape perhaps better than if you were just looking on your own. But also they are the ones that will get behind you and cheer you on, which is part of that teamwork that you want. You look at any sports pitch, and you can see how invaluable that fan club, if you like, of team members behind you can really egg you on and help you forge forward and achieve what you want to achieve. So this is all about how to plan and develop your own business. So what I'm going to be looking at, and I'm pretty sure it is going to take two programs to do this, is understanding the now where how. You're going to see me repeat this through much of this series, because everything that we do always starts with looking at where you are now, where you want to be, and then how to get there. And too often when we're problem solving, we look at a problem as what we've got now and we go straight into fixing it. And so we kind of go from now to how. And the emotionally intelligent thing to do is to actually step back and go, hang on a minute, we've spotted a problem. Before we go straight in and try and fix it, why don't we just stand back and say, right, this is where we are now. Where do we want to be? What creative thinking is over here? What opportunities are available to us? Let's go over here and experiment and have a look at what is featuring on where we could be. And then you come back round to the how to say, right, how do we get to the where, rather than how do we solve the problems straight away. So it's that kind of suspension is the key word there. Suspend and be creative. If you think of glass half full or half empty, what I advocate is look at where it's half full, but also look at the half empty. That's your creative space. What can you go in and do in that creative space? And that is where the where sits. Where is it you want to be? What could be possible now with this opportunity? So that's what that's all about. There's also a 6-step process to look at, and you will see the word MINDSHOP appearing through a lot of these presentations. Do Google them. Paul is one of the top UK facilitators for MINDSHOP. It's an Australian-based company, and we pay a license fee to use their tools, and they're amazing. So either, look at what they do, how they do it, and you might actually want some help from them, but also you might even want to be a facilitator. You never know. So do sniff around them. Sustainable competitive advantage is key. Now, we all, or many of us in the business world, have heard the term USP, your unique selling point. I prefer the SCA. Sustainable is key. So you can have unique selling point, but you don't know how sustainable that is sometimes. I'm not saying you never do. But if you are straight away thinking, is this sustainable? So it gets you into scenario planning and really looking at what your competitors are doing, and forecasting and benchmarking and all those things, because before you kind of run with it, you're checking whether it's sustainable. So that's why I really like it. Competitive advantage, everybody has competitors in their field. Even if you have a unique standalone product or a standalone product idea, if your competitor is not something offering a service or a product like yours, your competitor could actually be the budget. And it's where people prefer to spend that part of their budget. In other words, it's a bit like on holiday and what have you. Where does that budget money go? Does it go into, for example, a cruise, or could they get much more for their money? The money that could have gone into a cruise, they realise they could fly and hire and deep sea dive and that kind of stuff. So sometimes your competitor is actually the budget rather than a service or a product. To identify key performances, we're going to be looking at that. Conduct a strategic SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. A strategic SWOT means that we're looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, but straight away we are cross-referencing those grids and we're putting in some action plans, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you've got the one-page plan. I have covered that in the last programme. I will be covering it again because obviously the subject matter is slightly different, and if you look at it then you might like some of the content there as well. So why the need to plan and develop your business? The business should do what you want it to do. How often do we say that people are immersed in the business and that they're actually doing what the business wants them to do rather than what they want the business to do? And the ultimate goal of any leader is almost to try and extract themselves from the business so they can, and I love the idea of sort of earning money while you're asleep. In other words, that you get to a point where the business can run itself and the people there, so you can be strategic, you can be creative, and you can have that space where you you kind of dive in and out of the business, and you can, as I say, the expression of earning money while you're asleep, and it shouldn't be overly stressful, but we all know that's a process, and certainly to begin with you are immersed in the business. So the key thing there is, how do you work in the business whilst working on the business? A very simple tip there is, where you book appointments with clients and what have you, make sure you diarise a very, very important meeting with a very, very important client, and the name that fits in that slot is your own name. And you protect that time where you are having a meeting with yourself or with your team about the business, and you protect it as if it is a booking with your best client. And too often we plan to do all of this, and then something comes in, it glistens and looks like it might bring in anything from skills to money and what have you, and if we're not careful, we keep pushing the important meeting with ourselves, we keep pushing it away, and that doesn't actually help you overall and for your long-term plans. So here we are again with the Now, Where, How, a very, very strong MINDSHOP tool here, and it's what I was just explaining at the beginning, and these graphics explain it very, very quickly. The last thing I just want to say on this too is, if you focus your time on the where, and 9 times out of 10 that is where you will spend most of your time. You'll assess where you are now, and then when you are in creative thinking and planning where you want to be, usually that's where the time is eaten up. And if you get that right, then how to achieve what you've identified in the where should, if you like, be bloomin' obvious. It should actually drop out the bottom. If you are immersed and like walking through mud trying to work out how to do the things that you want to do, then I would suggest you have not spent enough time in the where. So go back to the where and say, we haven't clarified this enough. Good test is draw it. You'll sketch it and say, right, we've had the discussions, now just sketch what the where looks like. And if you can't draw it, it means you can't see it. And if you can't see it, then it means it won't happen. So what does the 6-step MINDSHOP process look like? And this is very, very powerful. And we're going to go in the break, so I'm going to pick this up afterwards. But I just want to draw your attention to the dotted line there. And look at what's in those boxes. I am going to talk about the content in a minute, but that dotted line I want you to imagine is an invisible curtain. And the point of this is, you as a business leader, you are sitting on the right hand side, I think it is, as you look at it. Where do we want to be, and the strategies. That's where you sit, and your team sit on the other side of the line. And what you're effectively doing is then peering through that dotted line. Imagining it's a curtain, you're peering through to see what is going on. The argument is, if you are totally immersed on the other side, then everybody will just do what they think you want to see, and you won't really know what's going on. I'll see you in a minute.